following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Welcome in to a Reaction Monday here, Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Chris Yao, alongside the Hall of Famer Mo Patton, who is back in Middle Tennessee. Glad to have you back.
I'm glad to be back. It was a little cool up there.
And you brought it back with you. Trust me, it's not looking like it's going to get much better here in Middle Tennessee soon.
Well, maybe not today, but it will eventually. I think it's supposed to approach 80 this weekend because I was checking on the specifically on homecoming over at MTSU. They've got Western coming in and got a little bit of a skid to stop. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I've got 80 on Saturday, 85 Wednesday, but then 73 Thursday, 72 Friday, 75 Sunday. And then next week, though, it's 60, 58, 62, 65. So, yeah.
Well, it is mid to late October at that point.
I mean, it is fall.
Yeah. I mean, go figure. Yeah. What do you want? Yeah.
Oh, man. But I'm sure it was a great weekend. You getting to listen to some Mike Keith and Coach McGinnis on the drive home.
Man, McGinnis is priceless.
He really is.
He's priceless, man. Yeah, he's a special dude. Really, think he missed his call in all those years coaching.
Right? He could have been having way less stress, way more fun in the booth.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They do a good job. Got to listen to a little of that, and later last night I listened to the San Diego feed of the Padres Mets game with former Nashville Sounds outfielder Tony Gwynn Jr. doing the color on that. He's great. I mean,
that sounds fun.
It was a good call, and it was a good game. Friend of mine texted me right as the game got started and said, "Go Mets," right? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I want them to get to the NLCS and we knock them out, or if I want them to lose as soon as possible. Well, I didn't get a say in the matter, but the Mets are gone and I'm cool.
Well, I certainly felt like the Mets had a better a better opportunity to take down the Padres.
LA? Oh.
I mean, to take down the Dodgers than the Padres do, but
now how do you feel about that though?
Well,
now that the Padres have taken the Mets down,
this is I think the Dodgers are going to end up winning in 3, maybe 4 if we're lucky, and the Braves need to match whatever they do. We don't need to go a game longer than the Dodgers. I mean, when you're talking about pitching matchups and that sort of thing, you need to do the same thing or better than your future opponent. So, of course, I don't really care if we go 5 as long as we win. We can. The Braves can go 5 if necessary, but preferably not. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, it was a great weekend. Again, it's going to be a fantastic week of the show. We're looking forward to it. I know I am. And today's show, we've got Dave Hooker, Off the Hook Sports. He's going to talk to us about Duval's big win down in Baton Rouge over the weekend. And I heard there was a game this weekend as well. I'm not sure
supposedly
what's going on.
I've heard something about that. Yeah,
there have been rumblings. So there's that. We'll talk about that the third Saturday in October as well with him. We will get into our reaction from SEC football weekend, the Titans, the high school football weekend, the rest of college football, and of course we'll talk about the Braves as they will start their game before we're on the air tomorrow. And I'm not sure how that's going to work out. It's going to be real hard.
I think it's going to depend on how the game goes.
Yeah. There's no doubt there. So we'll talk about that, their most recent extension They've extended yet another young superstar. So get into all of that and much more here on Main Street Sports Day. Before we do anything else, though, we need to get you the weekend's results and today's actually kind of short schedule. Go figure. This will be the shortest Monday rundown of the high school season.
This is the rundown.
The Monday Rundown is brought to you by Zion Christian Academy. ZCA offers a faith-based, Christ-centered education in Murray County. Give them a call today at 931-388-5831 or visit zioneagles.org to schedule your appointment today. Zion Christian Academy, prepared for college, equipped for purpose.
High school football action on Friday. Beach takes care of Springfield 42-10. It was BGA 64, Republic nothing. Brentwood edging Franklin 7-zip. It was Brentwood Academy 47-7 winners over Cornerstone Christian of Ohio. Centennial downs Ravenwood 28-24, while Collinwood knocks off Richland 33-28. Creekwood 30-6 winners over Greenbrier. MBA 35-17 over Innsworth, and Ezel Harding 29-6 winners over Chat Prep.
Fairview with a 56-0 win over Camden Central. It was Giles County in a shortened 49-28 win over Columbia Central. Chattanooga Grace downs Providence Christian 38-28. Clarksville Academy knocks off Grace Christian of Franklin 27-22. It was Watertown with a 26-0 shutout of Harpeth. Hendersonville 40, Shelbyville 34. Green Hill blanked Hunters Lane 35-0. Independence with a 26-21 comeback win over Summit in the border battle. Cascade downs Joe Burns 34-0, and Crittenden County, Kentucky defeats Liberty Creek 28-14.
Lipscomb Academy shuts out Knoxville Catholic 42-zip. It was Moore County in a shootout, 62-42 more arena football for me over Loretto. It was Mount Juliet Christian. I want to know if who got the save in this one.
This has got to be a scoregami.
It has to be, right? 12-11 over Sale Creek. I don't even know how you get to 11 points in high school football.
Oh.
So there you go. Nolensville, 27-21 over Page in a fantastic football game. Sycamore, 17-14 over Cheatham County. It was
that game was in overtime, by the way, Chris, at 27-21 Nolensville.
Yes. Yes, it was. Cannon County defeated Tennessee Heat 28-19. It was White County 35, Hillsborough 21. Waverly 48-13 winners over White House Heritage, and Wilson Central 39-30 over Station Camp.
I'm guessing that Sale Creek score had to be a touchdown, an extra point, and 2 safeties. Because I don't see a field goal. But anyway,
a field goal or a 2-point conversion. You can't. Why would you go for 2 if you can kick a field goal? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. In college football action this weekend, Tennessee, as we mentioned, with the 40-13 win over LSU at LSU. The Blazers of Alabama Birmingham 41, MTSU 14. Ole Miss exploded in the second half for a 52-28 win over Vanderbilt. Tennessee State gets in the win column with a 41-17 homecoming win over Bethune-Cookman, and Cumberland 65, Campbellsville 22.
Also homecoming.
Yeah. In NFL action yesterday, the Titans with a 21-17 win over the Commanders of Washington, and in MLS, it was the Nashville Soccer Club 1, LAFC nothing.
Today's volleyball action, Zion Christian's at Riverside Christian at 5:30. In the Region 7 AAA semifinals, it's Clarksville Northwest taking on Clarksville, and West Creek against Dixon County, times unknown at this point. Girls soccer action, D7 AAA as well. Smyrna at Lebanon at 6, and Laverne is at Wilson Central also at 6. And in NFL action, it's the Raiders at the Chiefs at 7:15 on ESPN Monday Night Football. And that's going to do it for your rundown, brought to you by Zion Christian Academy. All right. Top story today, Mo. 800 and what did I say?
34.
$834,000 per month. Per month. MONTH month.
Every 30 days.
Not year. Not
every 30 days for the next 3.5, 4 years.
48 months.
I've seen 40 as well. That's why I didn't.
Well, okay. It could either way. Matt Rule is getting paid
to not coach.
You know what? A lot of folks already trying to get him his next job, and if I'm him, I don't need no job.
Yeah.
You know where you can put me in whatever analyst from whatever booth leaves to go coach Urban Meyer, Gene Chizik, whatever, whoever leaves, holler at me.
Or as you're fond of saying, what if he just pulled a James Gregory?
You don't never see my fat butt again.
$834 a month for 4 years. I mean, you can't spend it.
You can't. You cannot spend that.
You literally cannot spend $834,000 a month. So you ought to be able to save half of that and stretch it out over 8 years.
And you put it in the bank and you've got a good money manager. You're good. Just
if you got a bad money manager, you're good.
There's that. So listen, again, a lot of folks are out here trying to get him his next job, but I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to give me the exact answer I know you're going to give me. But why in the world would a football coach go from the professional football ranks and willingly coach in college football, where it's now you've gone from a 9-month out of the year job to a 12 months out of the year job? You got to work every day because you got to go into these kids' houses. You got to travel across the country all the time. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to wine. You got to dine.
And then once you get them, you got to keep doing it.
You got to do the transfer portal bull crap. You got to deal with all of this stuff. Why would you do that if you've got $48 million in the bank?
Ego. That's absolutely the only explanation there is for that.
Here's, if you're Matt Rule and you care about, what people think of you as a football coach, you obviously can't end on this note. But you know what I can do? I can take 5 years and let myself rest.
Or I can not care what people think of me as a football coach because I got $48 million in the bank.
And I proved what I can do at Baylor.
I got to the NFL. I mean, that's the pinnacle.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're not good.
Clearly.
I mean, it doesn't matter because who cares? You were good enough to be hired as a head coach in the NFL. That's enough for me.
For $48 million.
Yes.
And you were good enough to get fired and still make $48 million because apparently you had a pretty dang good agent.
Yeah, that's insane. I am mad at him.
No, I'm really not mad at him. I'm not. I'm not mad at him at all. In fact, I'm a little jealous, if anything.
I know, right? We picked the wrong career.
Because trust me, when I got fired, I didn't get $48 million.
No. And
either time.
At any time. Yeah. None of the times I got fired did I get.
None of them. Not a one. Yeah.
I mean, it's rough out there for football.
It's hard out there for a pimp.
Yeah.
And for Matt Rule.
Yes. Great line there. That was fantastic.
That said, Chris, which job would you point him at of the 5 that are currently open at the collegiate level?
Arizona State.
I think Wisconsin.
He was at Baylor, man.
Yeah, but he was.
Those are different worlds.
The Baylor and Wisconsin,
the Big 12 and the Big 10.
Big 12 and the Big 10.
I think you think you're a better fit at somewhere like an Arizona State. Here's what I think is here's what I think I do if I'm Matt Rule. If I'm Matt Rule, here's what I do.
Nothing.
I wait for Oklahoma to fire Brent Venables.
That's going to be a while. That's not happening this year.
Then they might fire him before they go to the SEC.
Now he certainly has time to wait.
That's what I'm saying.
$834 a month. Yeah,
got plenty of time. And if somehow Oklahoma makes their way around, you still got your pick of any job. You can wait for a job. You wait for the job you want. It's going to come open eventually.
You're not wrong.
I mean, almost every job in the country, sans maybe 8 are going to come open at some point in the next few years. And who's to say that those 8 don't somehow find a way to come open too? Who knows?
Okay, so since you've popped the top on Oklahoma, how concerned does Tennessee have to be about that job coming open again?
None. I think the way that they treated him when he was there before, I think he's out.
He's out at Oklahoma.
I don't think he would go back if they wanted him.
Yeah, I just feel like there's no possible way, right? The scores are just too crazy.
Why would you go back to again, Mo, we've said, how many times have we said this? Go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. They don't even tolerate him out there. At least they didn't the last time he was there. Now, based on his success at Tennessee and based on his success as a head coach at the Power 5 level,
and based on the lack of success with the current guy,
would they beg him to come back? Yes. But he also knows that if he doesn't win national championships, plural, he knows exactly what's going to happen. He knows exactly how it's going to play out. So why would you put yourself in that situation when Tennessee, by the way, this is the 5th time that I've been able to wear this shirt on a Monday here on Main Street Sports Today. That's right. The orange and white checkered.
Tell me it's been to the cleaners or otherwise.
I wash it every week.
Okay, cool.
Kept it on the chair right behind him.
Yeah, I'm not that. Again, I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious.
Just a little stitious.
Gotcha. So, but yeah, I don't think Oklahoma is a problem for Josh Heupel. I don't think he would want to go there. Now, maybe he does. Maybe I'm crazy, but I wouldn't. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think it's a question that has to be asked, though.
Oh, they're going to call him.
It's your alma mater,
They're going to call him, but the way that he's got things going here now, obviously we don't know what is he going to have another Hendon Hooker? Is Nico going to be some fantastic, 4-year guy? Is, what's going to happen in the future? You just don't know. But the way that he's turned this program around this quickly, I don't think that it matters at all. I think he's going to be at Tennessee as long as we'll have him. And I can tell you, as a Tennessee fan, the way that it's gone the last 2 years, I will take him as long as he wants to be here.
No doubt.
So
retweet.
There you go. We've got Dave Hooker of Off the Hook Sports set to join us in the show, and maybe we should just ask him that question too. Get his read on the situation. But let's take a quick break while we can, and we'll take our first break of the day. When we come back, Dave Hooker, Off the Hook Sports, is set to join us. We'll be back right after this on Main Street Media TV. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at JonesandLang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
The high school football season is here, and nobody handles Friday nights better than Main Street Media. Here's Zach Womble with details.
That's the name of the game here at Main Street Media and Main Street Preps. Is, you know, we've been doing this for a long time now, and I think you hit on it. We've got an army of reporters across all of Middle Tennessee. I think there's about 130 schools in the Middle Tennessee area, and we try to cover all of them. We cover about 11, 12 counties at this point. And those Friday night shows, it's, you know, we're gonna show that off. We're gonna showcase the talent that we have on the field with reporters across several mid-state games on the weekly basis. So, you know, whether you're in Williamson County, whether you're in Giles County or Murray County or Montgomery or Robertson or anywhere in between, we're going to have you covered from 6 to 11.
Friday Night Live is presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone & Joint. It is Reaction Monday here, and we've got a ton to react to. Saturday when I got up and got going, and I actually had to go to Knoxville, which was ironic, I guess. I was headed to Knoxville, and I was listening to Bob Kessling, and you know, the first thing I hear is LSU's fumbled and Tennessee's got the football, and I thought, well, that's a good way to start. But what I didn't know, Mo, was that Tennessee was apparently using electronic wavelengths to mess up the returner for LSU. Did you hear about this?
No, I can't say as I did.
Apparently, and obviously this is, I'm joking, but it's actually out there. There is a tweet out there that says that gosh, I can't talk. Tennessee was using electrophysiomagnetic pulse, a low-intensity burst of a magnetic field at a frequency designed to scramble sensory electrons and disrupt the brain's electrocurrents. The result is an instantaneous and temporary loss of motor strength and muscle control. It's not a coincidence that Beck muffed the kickoff right by Tennessee's sideline. I was unaware that Tennessee had such abilities, but I mean, if we haven't been using this more often, I don't know if we have the ability. We should be using this all the time.
Well, if we have this ability, I would hate to waste it on LSU.
Right. Oh man. Well,
let's save that till this Saturday.
That's right. Save it for this Saturday if you have to. But yeah, it was a great Saturday. Fantastic win for the Tennessee Volunteers as they handily take care of LSU and the Bayou Bengals. And to talk more about it, we have on the line with us Dave Hooker of Off the Hook Sports. Dave, what's up, buddy?
Hey guys, how are you?
We're good, Dave. Glad to have you on in more ways than one. Thank you for taking some time to come on with us today. Before we talk about LSU, Chris and I were talking in the last segment about Matt Rule and Brent Venables and Oklahoma and possible openings. As far as that, do you, from where you sit, see anything that Tennessee needs to be concerned with as it relates to their current coach and Oklahoma graduate?
Well, I mean, you're talking to a guy who covered the Lane Kiffin night in which all heck broke loose for those listeners that might be under the age of 18. So, yeah, I think you always have to be concerned. I mean, Tennessee was in a very unique position with Johnny Majors and Philip Fulmer. Those were destination jobs in their hearts, and that meant a lot to them, and they were able to woo Johnny Majors away from Pitt after winning the national championship and getting a Heisman Trophy for Tony Dorsett. And then Philip Fulmer worked hard, and been maybe usurping Johnny Majors to get that job. So they were, I remember the Philip Fulmer used to float out rumors that, maybe he was interested in the NFL. He never was. He was never going to leave. But as far as Josh Heupel, I would say this. I think a lot would have to change. One, obviously, Venables has to continue to fail and be fired, and that very well could happen, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. And then it's who's really in charge. He was fired by Oklahoma, and he shouldn't have been because Bob Stoops didn't want to fire his brother, who was the defensive coordinator at the time. So he fired the offensive coordinator. He had to make some sort of change because things weren't going in the right direction as the administration saw it. So there was a lot of hard feelings about that, and that really took Josh Heupel's career in a different path, one that he didn't expect. So I'm sorry to be long-winded, but I think a lot would have to happen, but I think you always have to be concerned when you have a coach that seems to have cracked the code, so to speak, and I think that he has with his offense. I think that Josh Heupel is one of the top 3, 4, 5 offensive minds out there currently right now. And Maurice, you probably know me well enough to know that I'm usually seen as cynical, but I really believe that. And so, yeah, I think you should be concerned, but I don't think you should be overly concerned.
Chris, is that fair?
That's what I just don't see, like you said, Dave, he got fired. He shouldn't have been fired. And I feel like, that's going to play a much bigger role, because why go back to a place that clearly didn't want you the last time you were there? So,
well, I will say this, and Maurice can probably appreciate this as a newspaper writer. I wrote a story that ran on the day that Lane Kiffin left. It ran that morning, and they didn't even run it on the front page because I told them, I said, this isn't going to happen. Don't worry about it. And I wrote a story about all the candidates that would have to say no before they went to Lane Kiffin. So it ran on the inside cover of the sports section. Tennessee football always runs on the front, and it didn't run on the front even. That's how silly it was as of, when your paper got delivered at 5:30 in the morning. Well, by 7:30 at night, I thought the evening was over, and I was cracking open an adult beverage, and I quickly put that down when I saw Bruce Feldman had to crawl across the bottom that he was going to Southern Cal. So that's how quickly things can change.
That's very true.
I tell you, I was at a basketball game at Father Ryan, and the buzz that was going through the stands, Dave, was just, you could literally feel it. And I'm like, what in the world? And then finally I realized what was going on, and it was a crazy night. And I was in Nashville covering high school sports, and it was a crazy night. So I can only imagine what it was like in Knoxville. But getting to more enjoyable subjects, 40-13 in Baton Rouge. Did you see that?
No. I thought Tennessee would win somewhat comfortably. I thought that I had them predicted, and I'm terrible at predictions. I'll tell you what I'm good at and what I'm bad at. I'm bad at that. But I had Tennessee winning by about 9. I thought they'd cover pretty easily. And no, I didn't see that coming. I heard you guys talking about the EMP pulse that they can set off. I think they did that in Ocean's 11 or something. I don't think that actually went off.
No, it was a joke.
Yeah,
or not a joke.
Right,
it was some LSU fan on the internet. And as Justin will tell you, you can't put anything on the internet that isn't true.
Exactly.
No, it's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. But the one thing I will say though, as an extenuating circumstance, is back in the day, all football practices were held in the afternoon. They just were. I don't know who started that or why, but they always were. I guess it went back to high school because you had to go to school first. And every practice that I covered up until Derek Dooley, and I didn't cover him for very long, but was in the afternoon. Tennessee's is in the morning, and LSU's is in the afternoon. I did think going into it that was more of a factor than you might think, because I remember when Tennessee players practice in the afternoon, they hated playing morning games. And the Tennessee players, of which I'll plug, Jacob Warren and Cooper Mays that are on my website weekly, they don't like playing later in the evening. They don't like sitting around. I think a lot of that's body clock stuff, and I think Tennessee had an advantage. I thought when they announced the 11 Central Time kickoff, I thought that was worth more than home field advantage. I really thought initially, and I think that kind of proved to be true. It didn't look like LSU was ready to play, which is odd.
I'm not entirely – I completely agree with you, actually, and we talked about that a couple of times last week. I really felt like this getting up and your routine is just so different when you play an 11 o'clock game, and Tennessee certainly had no issues with the 11 o'clock kick, even if it was 12 is I guess noon their time, really, body clock wise. So huge win. Momentum wise, getting a big win in the SEC on the road. Kirby Smart will tell you that it's hard every week in the SEC, no matter where you're playing, whether that be LSU or Missouri. That being said, when you get a win like this, it certainly does a world of difference for your confidence, especially going into a game against the number 1 team in the country in the coaches poll and the number 3 team in the country in the AP poll and a national championship contestant last year.
Yeah, the sports writers do their homework. That's why that poll moves around a little bit more than the coaches, because they just let the sports information guys do it. So yeah, I mean, I think that a lot depends on Bryce Young. I mean, that's stating the obvious, but a lot depends on Tennessee too. I mean, the reason Cedric Tillman and Josh Heupel alluded to this, if not all, but confirmed at his press conference today, the reason he had that tightrope surgery that Tua Tagovailoa had twice on his ankle is to hasten the recovery, to get back quicker. So that's why he had that, was to get back for this game. It wasn't to get back for LSU. It certainly wasn't to get back for Tennessee Martin next week. So that's why he hustled back. And I think that if he can play, he'll play. And, as far as some of the other issues, they didn't have Gerald Mincey at left tackle. He's able to play. I was told that was an injury issue, but maybe Jeremiah Crawford has established himself at left tackle, because they, B.J. Oligari didn't do much. Their defensive ends didn't do much, and they both might go in the first round of the NFL draft one day. And then the other, Jalen McCullough, with the arrest, we'll see about that if he's able to play. But there are a lot of factors at play in this game. But as a whole, I would think that it seems like, including the Bryce Young injury, I don't want to see anybody get injured, don't get me wrong, but it kind of does feel a little bit, whether it be the early kick time or whatever the case may be, that things just seem to be breaking Tennessee's way, and they haven't in a long time. So we'll see. They still have to play really well on Saturday to beat Alabama. That's still a much better roster than Tennessee has. I think we'd all agree on that.
Dave Hooker with Off the Hook Sports joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Dave, it looked like even as Tennessee was winning this ball game by 4 touchdowns on Saturday, looked like there were times where the defensive secondary continues to be inconsistent, maybe.
Yeah, that's very complimentary, actually. I think Tennessee, if not for Tennessee's defensive front applying pressure, Jaden Daniels may have had an above-average game. I don't think he's an above-average quarterback, so that would be outplaying what I think he is. And Tennessee was able to apply pressure. They're going to have to do that again this week. And if you watch, it's apparent that Tennessee is what they are, especially in the secondary. And there are still talent gaps at different places, but none more evident than in the secondary. And I don't know that they get that much better there anytime soon. You got Warren Burrell out for the year and with an injury, and I mentioned the McCullough situation. So they're just not going to be good there. And they may improve slightly, but that's going to be a situation in which they're going to have to get better via recruiting. And that fortunately, I would say cornerback, other than running back, is the position you can step in and have an early impact pretty quickly. They need that. I mean, they need somebody to do that. And if they don't get that, then, by next year, we're going to be having the same conversation. So you can develop players so much during the season, but I don't think you're going to see this be an above average secondary at any point this year as far as who they play.
And that's why if Bryce Young plays, it's a much different ballgame than if he doesn't. You have to feel like if you're a Tennessee fan or an Alabama fan for that matter.
Yeah, the matchup is, I think, much better for a couple of different reasons. Obviously, Bryce Young's a Heisman winner. He's obviously the better player. But even if everything was equal, still, he's a guy who's going to beat you more with his legs, and Tennessee has shown that they're really good at that muddle rush where they don't really get upfield. They kind of just hold the pocket. They're good at containing quarterbacks. They're good at gap assignments, and they don't let people beat them. You had the Anthony Richardson. His longest run was 11 yards against Florida, and then Jaden Daniels is going to make some plays because he's faster than Richardson and a really good runner. But that wasn't what was beating them, and I don't think that's going to beat them. So obviously Young's better, but Milroe from a style perspective is a much better matchup because I think Tennessee would be much better against a guy who's going to try to beat you with his legs than a guy who's going to try to beat you with his pocket and beat the secondary, because this secondary is beatable.
Yeah, and I would think that's certainly got to be an area of concern for UT going into this matchup with number 3 Alabama. So, Chris?
No, that's it. I absolutely agree with you. This is going to be a fantastic week of fun, though. I can tell you it's going to be a fantastic week because I just talked to somebody who said folks here in Middle Tennessee are certainly bringing their orange out more recently. And he said, I promise you, if they win this weekend, you will see so much orange running up and down the streets of Columbia that they'll be going to the Murray County Jail to steal jumpsuits just to wear them out.
Or wearing the big traffic barrels they put on the side of the road. I mean, that's
traffic barrels, traffic cones, the whole 9 yards.
If it's orange, we're going to be wearing
They're going to be wearing
Sunday. If this 16-year drought ends, 15 years, something like that. 06 was the last win, I believe. So, but yeah, Dave, as always, it's a pleasure. We appreciate your insight and your thought process. We will talk to you very soon.
Yep. Anytime, guys. Give me a call. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Dave.
See, I was thinking about having his counterpart on this week since she's such a big Bama fan.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
maybe we grab her a little bit later.
I think we do need to get Amanda later this week just to see how concerned those folks are.
Yeah. I bet Dave and she will have some conversations about that on their show. Again, offthehooksports.com for Dave Hooker and the Dave Hooker on Twitter. Go check him out. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it is reaction to all that happened in the SEC and the Tennessee Titans coming up right here on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Stick around. This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. It is Reaction Monday, and Mo, this weekend was a pretty crazy weekend in the SEC. We were looking forward to October 8th for a long time. I mean, a long time.
Since May.
Yeah, since May, and the Texas A&M, Nick Saban / Jimbo Fisher comments, and then, of course, Tennessee at LSU, and more recently, the Shane Beamer Kentucky beef that your boy Magic Mike on Twitter called them the what was it? Oh gosh,
I can't remember what he called Shane Beamer, but it was awesome.
No, he called South Carolina fans poverty poultry.
Well, he called Shane Beamer something a couple of weeks ago as well. So he
kills me.
He's awesome.
But the poverty poultry with a pretty big win over the weekend against Kentucky. But did October 8th live up to the hype?
Well, I mean, it depends, because again, some of that hype had cooled off a little bit, particularly the Texas A&M Alabama beef and the game and everything else, between things calming down with Jimbo and Nick, and with A&M losing to Appalachian State. I mean, I don't know if there was as much hype about October 8th on October 8th as there had been previously.
It actually may have exceeded expectations that were set through the week. Maybe not obviously leading up to it, but yeah, I mean, with A&M being where they sat, 3-2 at the time, it didn't really feel like that was a really big game,
right?
And yet, the Aggies rolled into Tuscaloosa and played pretty well. Took Alabama to the wire. And of course, yes, that's the one that says gig 'em. Yes, Texas A&M is the gig 'em. Good job. Hey, you're learning.
Thank you.
But you looked at this day and you went, boy, Tennessee started it off with a clunker against just demolishing LSU, and then the 2 night games were the 2 best games. You had SEC, SEC Saturday night, South Carolina, Kentucky, just an absolute barn burner, and then Texas A&M Alabama lived up to whatever hype there was, probably exceeded expectations. Pretty good weekend.
Meanwhile, Chris, you and I owe a mea culpa to one Andy Burcham, because when we had him on during our SEC previews, we were asking folks regarding the SEC West, if not Alabama, who? And Mr. Burcham was the one that came through with Mississippi State.
He did, in fact.
That's a good memory, Mo. I remember that too as well.
And meanwhile, you and I were amongst the many that had Arkansas as the answer to that question. And I think it's been pretty well documented that that is not, in fact, the case. So,
yeah, especially after Mississippi State just took care of Arkansas. So,
Mhm.
that's a question that, I wanted to ask was, is Mississippi State exceeding expectations, or, are they kind of meeting the expectation of some?
They're not exceeding Andy Burcham's expectations.
No, they're not. And they still have everybody they want in front of them. I mean, they've still got undefeated Ole Miss, undefeated currently Alabama. This is a Mississippi State team that is always scary when they're the underdog. Now, when you get them at 8-0 in November, or 9-0, whatever it is, things tend to get a little different. But when they kind of sneak up on you, watch out. So
that I'm trying to get their schedule up in front of me.
The Mississippi State schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good football team that, I certainly wasn't paying attention to until now.
Mm-hmm.
If that is
Now they go to Lexington this weekend. They go to Tuscaloosa the following weekend. Then they're idle before Auburn comes to Starkville the first weekend in October. Then they've got Georgia the following week, and then East Tennessee State before the Egg Bowl. So they've got a stretch of games here where they can really elevate themselves or get their bubble burst.
That's tough, man. When your remaining SEC schedule is that
Kentucky, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, and Ole Miss.
I mean, the only game that you feel comfortable about is Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, goodness gracious. They had Georgia and Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, SEC office did them no favors.
Not this year, for sure. But, if you need wedding advice, Mike Leach is there for you.
Mike Leach is there for you, or any other advice, really.
He's got something to say about any of it.
Mm-hmm.
You said before on Friday that Vanderbilt could play with Ole Miss. Well, they did for a half.
For about a half.
And that's about what you expect most of the time, just because Vanderbilt just doesn't have much depth. And now they have even less depth.
Less depth at running back, because Rocco Griffin, I would say according to VandySports.com, but there is actually a release. It's not on the Vanderbilt, on VUCommodores.com yet, but there is a release that says Rocco Griffin Jr. has chosen to no longer be a part of our program. We thank Rocco for his contributions to the team and wish him the best moving forward. We remain steadfast in building a true brotherhood within our football program and are excited to continue on our mission together. Signed, Clark Lee. Griffin was Vanderbilt's fourth leading rusher with 86 yards on 9 carries, averaging 9.6 yards a carry, with a touchdown. So, I mean, number 3 running back in terms of rushing behind Ray Davis and Chase Gillespie. So, again, as you talk about depth or lack of in the SEC, you're not going to get by with 2 running backs. So
no,
that's a little bit of a blow for them, I would think. And, I guess he has played in 3 games. So maybe this is a get this year back type move on his part. Retain an extra year of eligibility.
Yeah.
When he goes somewhere else. So
wherever he found himself.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a tough blow for Vanderbilt, I would think. So.
Now, and I don't know, because I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to him, but where is he from?
I don't know, and I don't know that I can find out, because if I pull up this roster,
Rincon, Georgia, South Effingham High School in Rincon, Georgia,
Rincon, Georgia. Okay.
So, but I remember him being fairly good last year, I thought. So
I can tell you he is no longer on the roster that I'm looking at.
Well,
got him off there pretty quick.
Yeah. As a sophomore, he led the team with 511 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. He finished the season against Ole Miss with 117 yards in a score and then 98 yards in a score at Tennessee in his last 2 games of last season. So, not sure what happened. Not sure if he just, lost a step or what, but that's a tough loss for Vanderbilt. And, good luck to him wherever he finds himself.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got a lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving parts these days in the college football landscape, and guys are trying to get where they can get on the field, and I'm not necessarily mad at them. So,
one last question before we get to the Titans real quick. When we talked about this on Friday, we talked about Will Levis and his, where he stands as far as being a top-notch quarterback or a potential first-round draft pick or whatever. He certainly is a pretty big piece to this Kentucky offense because they looked terrible without him. And I'm curious, Stoops said he had some packages for D. Wade, but Wade did not find himself on the field against South Carolina. You think maybe he should have just tried something different?
I think you got to be careful there because, if this is a lingering situation with Levis, you don't want to show a lack of confidence in the number 2 guy, but at the same time, you got to try to win a ball game too. And Destin Wade has a special set of skills.
I'm gonna superimpose his face on Liam Neeson.
I will.
There you go. Yeah,
he does in fact. And
he's got a special set of skills, man. And I think you'd be a little neglectful as a football coach to not utilize him. If Will Levis is the guy, then that's fine. But if not, then you got to give that guy a shot, I think, especially if you're losing.
Well, and that was kind of my point. I know you say you don't want to, not show confidence in the number 2 guy, but who's to say that he is the number 2 guy? Because you and I well know that the best practice players aren't always the best game time players, and gamers like Destin Wade don't come along too often for a program like Kentucky. And
and
again, he may not have wanted to send him out there and let him be the Tom Brady to Will Levis's Drew Bledsoe.
But again, if you are charged with winning football games, then I would like to think that you are charged with putting the best people out there. And we're biased.
Yes, just a little. No ifs, ands, or buts. We're biased.
Take that for what it is. We're biased. But when the lights are the brightest, that's when that guy seemed to show up over the last 3 years. So, you signed him.
Well, even as a freshman, Mo, when they almost beat Beach in the first round of the playoffs. I'm just saying, when the lights are the brightest, that's when he shows up. He is a gamer for sure. So, and you're in the SEC, and you're in an environment where you need to win a football game against South Carolina to keep, kind of keep serve with what you're doing. And
to keep serve with what you're doing and to shut Shane Beamer up.
And South Carolina has not been great. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
And now you've lost to them.
Yeah, that's not a game that if you're Kentucky, you need it to lose. So
yeah, no question. All right, Titans. Oof.
Man, we talked in the last segment about Tennessee and their defensive secondary play, and maybe
seems to be a problem across the state. It stretches from Bristol to Memphis, apparently.
It's an I-40 thing, apparently. Yeah, because man, I'm kind of glad I could not actually see that game yesterday because it sounded bad enough with Mike and Coach, particularly on the back end defensively.
I watched the first half.
That's always the fun. That's the fun one.
That's right. That's why I was like, hey,
that's when they score. Yeah.
But and leading, but you didn't really feel comfortable. I mean, that this Titans offensive line was, and to use the worst possible term I can think of, putrid. I mean,
that is a bad word, and it's very accurate.
It was just absolutely terrible. The entire game.
I mean, you kind of knew it was gonna be when you had Radens at right guard.
Yeah, no, and Aaron Brewer has just been terrible.
Do we like Radens or not? I can't decide. We don't.
No.
We've tried him at every position except center.
So I went to the 49ers game last year on Christmas Eve where he played, and or he came in for Lawan, I believe it was, or whoever went down, and there was hype around him, and Bosa switched sides because he wanted to go against Quessenberry instead of Radens. Maybe he could bring that back, or no?
No.
Okay.
He's just not good enough to play at the NFL level on a consistent basis, and so you've wasted a second round draft pick.
Once again,
that's unfortunate. Well, second round usually when J-Rob is money, but not this time.
Well, and you've wasted a second rounder there, and Caleb Farley not looking very good either. So
that whole draft, I still contend that's the worst draft in the history of the Titans.
I don't understand. I really, in practice, I hear he goes off, and Mo, you probably could speak to this because you've been to the training camps. I hear he's way more aggressive, and it's like a Charles Barkley. He kind of gets that hesitation in real-time game time, and it's just not the same player.
Well, it's certainly not carrying over from the practice field to game day action, and
I mean Charles Barkley's got golf swing, not his basketball.
Yeah, I got you, but yeah, it's and it's kind of getting the critical mass because as thin as the Titans are back there, they really need him to show up, and he's not.
Well, apparently Todd Downing was reading my Twitter, or he was reading Teresa Walker's Twitter, who retweeted me when I just simply wrote "screen" period, and they threw 3 on one drive and scored a touchdown.
So you want a part of Todd Downing's salary this week, right?
Todd Downing searching Twitter. All right, any ideas for any plays here?
and okay, let's go with that.
Let's do it.
Worked out. I mean, it was pretty obvious that was going to be a way to kind of slow down that pass rush. But hey, whatever. Glad to see that the Titans were able to put up their second touchdown of the season in the second half. And then the defensive secondary, ironically, with the game-sealing interception.
Well, that wasn't really the secondary. That was a linebacker.
Yeah, but they were in pass coverage.
It was a linebacker.
Which is crazy because why? Again, they were. We had linebackers in pass coverage with 3 seconds left on 3rd and goal.
Why?
Washington had timeouts, right?
I don't think so. I don't know. Okay. I mean, 3 seconds left. It's one or the other.
No, I mean, after the pass interference that set up 1st and goal at the 2, why do you not run the ball at some point there?
Just to give yourself, one chance with the run. If you've got a timeout, run the ball.
I'm telling you, it's Carson Wentz, man.
Well, and the more times you put the ball in Carson Wentz's hands, the better your chances are of what happening.
Well,
exactly.
Same thing in the end of the first half, though, Mo. They called timeout with like 40 seconds to go, and then didn't call timeout after the second down play. And so the Titans ran it down to about 12 or 15 or 12 seconds or something like that, and then scored on the next play. And the Commanders had no time left. When you called one timeout, you had 2 left. I don't know why you don't call a second timeout. It was weird. So, clock management clearly not Ron Rivera's strong suit.
Well, after the Titans / Tannehill situation at the end of the half last week, I don't want to throw too many stones when it comes to clock management. But
very, very good point. Good call back there.
They handled that first half well. The Titans did yesterday, and again, you just it's almost like the Titans defense kind of lulled Washington into a false sense of security because again, if you keep giving Carson Wentz chances to be Carson Wentz, eventually he will be.
He's going to take it.
Exactly.
But Derrick Henry, you know, and look, let's give the offensive line a little bit of credit. They blocked well in the run game for Derrick Henry, so I'll give them that.
Well, Derrick doesn't need
Henry,
a whole lot.
That's right. Just let him just don't let anybody get past you, and Derrick's going to go for 6 or 8.
Right.
Yeah, just keep them in front of you.
As long as you
stalemate them.
You don't have to move them. You don't have to block them out of the way. Just keep them from getting to him in the backfield. That's all you have to do. And they did that for the most part on Sunday, which is, I think, the reason that Tennessee was able to win the football game.
And again, we talked about it after the first couple of weeks. Derrick Henry has not lost a step.
Nope.
He just needs room to get going.
It's weird.
And when he gets it,
hit.
Yeah.
He's never had a first step. He needs the third one.
Right.
He's got to have, and they'll tell you that on any broadcast will tell you, Derrick Henry gets to his third step without being touched, it's a problem.
Well, you know, Chris, we were at the Page Powell Class 5A state championship game last year, and I talked to Powell coach Matt Lowe about the lineman who's now at Texas A&M. Walter, help me.
Nolan.
Yes. And he's like, when we talked about him falling a couple of times, and he said, you know, he's like a refrigerator. I mean, if he gets off balance, he's going to go down. I mean, it's kind of similar with Derrick Henry. I mean, if you're pushing a refrigerator, it's not at top speed first step.
Gravity
first push. But you push that thing 3 times, and once it gets going, you're going to have a tough time stopping it.
That's right.
And 6'3", 250 is pretty refrigerator-ish at running back.
Yeah, they compared him to Eric Dickerson on the broadcast, and I thought that was a great comparison. I mean, I know obviously, you know, if you take away Derek's first 2 years where he was completely mismanaged by the coaching staff,
they didn't know what to do with him.
They had no idea. They didn't understand because they weren't the NFL had changed, right?
Right.
And so the Titans needed a coach who understood that when you have a guy like this, you go back to what used to work for guys like this, and you give them the ball 22 to 25 times a game. And
I tell you what, though, I'm glad they mismanaged him because it probably added time on the back end
for him. Shoulder. Also, now, shout out to whoever the coach was that, because I know throughout Derrick Henry's career, just in football in general, they probably wanted to move him to a different position. Shout out to the coach that told him to stay at running back.
Yeah, I mean, when you're running for 2,000 yards in high school, like every 6 games,
3,000.
I said 2,000 every 6 games.
Oh, my bad. Yeah,
because that's what it felt like. Like every 6 games, he had $2,000. So, but yeah, shout out to that guy for sure. And
stay running the ball.
Yeah, we're gonna hand you this, and nobody's gonna be able to tackle you. So, but anyway, big win for the Titans. Got I'm not even sure who they play this week. Off the top of my head,
I think they're off this week.
That's what I was thinking. I was about to say, I think they may be off this week. So
you got the Colts at home.
Is it the Colts at home?
Yes,
it is the Colts
this weekend.
That's right. It is this weekend. It sure is.
How do you play the Colts twice in 3 weeks?
They're trying to get those.
No, it's not. It's the 23rd. It's the 23rd. Yep. This is the off week. That's what I was thinking at first, but then I looked at the schedule and then I didn't see the 2-3 there. Yeah, they are off this week. Colts on the 23rd. That's an automatic win.
Oh no!
And that's the thinking that gets you beat, Chris.
Vrabel on extra rest is darn near unbeatable. So unbeatable. He's darn near unbeatable on extra rest. So I'm going with an auto dub.
Me and something that bears mentioning here. That 21-20 loss in the opener to the Giants looks a lot better now than it did then.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and all you had to do is kick a daggum field goal, make it.
Right. Gosh, it looked in from where I was at.
But yeah, big week of practice and rest and getting folks healed up, and hopefully this secondary, Amani Hooker, hopefully will be back.
Hook.
You got to have him. So yeah. All right, we've been here quite a while, so let's take a quick break. When we come back, some Braves chatter as we talk about their most recent extension, and playoffs start tomorrow. So stick around here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be right back after this.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor-trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor-trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor-trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. We kick it off with this day in Braves history.
What'd you think, Mo? You like it?
That's not bad. That's pretty sharp. So we're going to kick it off with Braves history, so we don't forget. That's
right. That's the plan.
We'll never forget again.
Nah, well, I got to get to it. So, okay, here we go. October 10th, 2001, with 8 shutout innings from Tom Glavine, Atlanta goes up 2-0 in its NLDS with Houston, as John Smoltz earned the save in a 1-0 victory. The save in a 1-0 victory. BJ Surhoff scored the game's only run in the top of the second inning, reaching on a leadoff double and advancing on a Julio Lugo throwing error before crossing the plate as Ray Sanchez, Chris, you missed your cue, who grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. Interesting side note to that one, Chuck Merriweather, Nashville native, Father Ryan graduate, Martin Methodist Hall of Famer, who we lost here not too long ago, was behind the plate for that game. So there's your this day in Braves history, and with a little local mixed in.
There's always Middle Tennessee connection.
Always a Nashville connection. Yeah.
So Spencer Strider will now continue his career with the Atlanta Braves as Alex Anthopoulos continues to be incredible. And on a random Monday in October.
Here's the thing. It seems random, but it may not necessarily be, Chris, because if you'll remember that August series at Citi Field where the Mets took advantage of some breaks and took 2 out of 3 up there. And Strider made the comment that they had a lot of lucky hits and that kind of thing. And we'll see how that works for him in October. So this extension is announced the morning after the Mets season ends. So
after they got 2 hits in a
well, no.
1 hit,
One
2
hit,
base runners.
2 base runners. Yeah.
And
1 hit, 1
pitching.
walk. So maybe it wasn't so random after all. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Alex Anthopoulos seems to have a knack for extending players while they're injured. I guess I don't know if that's a tactic or not, but it's working out.
Maybe it's a rush you back, maybe get you a little bit excited to get back. Excuse me, into things. I don't know.
6-year contract, $75 million that runs through 2028. It includes a $22 million club option, $22. That'd be some AAV, wouldn't it? $22 million club option for 29 with a $5 million buyout. Strider will make $1 million per season in 23 and 24, $4 million in 25, 20 and 26, and 22 and 27 and 28. $92 million over 7 years if the option is exercised. He's 23 years old, 11-5 this season with a 2.67 ERA and over 200 strikeouts, which is just insane. So,
and was in the running for Rookie of the Year before the oblique issue sidelined him coming down.
Probably still going to be number 2, though. Let's be honest.
he probably should be number 2 in the National League Rookie of the Year race, but
I don't know who else would be. So.
I don't really know either, so it'll bear watching. 12:07, because you wouldn't want the defending World Series champions in prime time or anything.
And after seeing all of the rationale and when you really look at it, I get it, because somebody's got to play the early game, and you got 2 East Coast teams. Every other series has a West Coast team or somebody and then or the Yankees. And
or the Yankees. Yeah. And you weren't going to put the Yankees in the middle of the day. So, because the other 2 are Houston, Seattle, and San Diego, LA. So, I mean, yeah,
it's unfortunate.
But here's the thing. It's unfortunate, and you probably would not necessarily react to it the way so many people are if it hadn't been this way so many other times before.
Yeah, this is just the way the MLB and their broadcast partners treat the Atlanta Braves for whatever reason, despite them.
It's almost like they find a reason to do it.
The Atlanta Braves, the Chicago Cubs, the Boston Red Sox, the Los Angeles Dodgers, maybe, and the Yankees. Those 5 teams are the only 5 teams with national fan bases. I do not understand how that doesn't play into these type of decisions.
I don't think the national decision makers believe that. I don't think
anybody who watches a Braves game on any network, if you watch the Braves away games, there are as many Braves jerseys in the stands as anywhere else in the country.
Who you gonna believe, me or your lying eyes?
Just ask the Eagles, dadgummit.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm just kind of speechless in terms of follow up. But anywhere they go on the road, I mean, in Miami, they took over. Not that it's hard to do, but they took over Marlins Stadium for that last series. When they went out to Seattle earlier this year, there were Braves fans all over the place there. They're everywhere, and they travel. So,
and it just doesn't make any sense that you would not want a team with a national fan base at least to be playing the early evening game. But again, 2 East Coast teams, it is what it is. The Braves will have to play. And have we got a probable starter for the Phillies yet?
For tomorrow?
Yes.
Ranger Suarez, 10-7, 3.65.
All right. So Ranger Suarez will go against Max Fried in game 1. Again, this is a game this is the NLDS. You got to win. You just got to win the game ahead of you. You don't worry about pitching matchups. When you get to game 3, it is what it is.
You can't get too caught up in that because, I mean, I think that was part of the Mets issue in this wild card. I mean, they started Scherzer in game 1, and they're talking about if we win game 1, we're not going to go with DeGrom. We're going to go with Bassett and try to save him. All you can do is win the game in front of you, man, because the worst thing you can do is get caught holding. So,
and you just can't get caught holding. Just don't. So therefore, win the first 2. It looks like you said that it looks like it could be
either Wright or Morton,
Wright.
I guess. Yeah. The information I'm looking at still has TBD for game 2, which is at 3:35 Central Time. It'll be Atlanta native Zach Wheeler on the bump for the Phillies in that one.
Oh, he's going to go in game 2?
Wheeler's going in game 2, according to this.
Well, then I think you got to go with Wright.
Well, I mean, I don't think it matters whether it's Wheeler or Nola, because whichever one doesn't go
Nola,
in 2 is going to go in.
No, well,
Did he go in game 2?
He went in game 3.
They only played 2 games.
Okay, well, you're right. So he played on Saturday, is what I'm saying.
Game 2. Yeah.
So you knew he wasn't going to be in.
Yeah,
2.
but it's Wheeler tomorrow. So I would assume it's going to be Nola on Thursday then, right? Because they're off Wednesday.
Yeah, there'll be a travel day on Wednesday to get to Philadelphia for a Thursday, Friday, and then off Saturday, and they'll play.
No,
they're not off Saturday.
No, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, off Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Philly, and then game 5 if necessary on Sunday back in Atlanta.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So.
I don't know how days of the week work.
It happens. Don't worry.
I don't think we're going to get to game 5 one way or the other.
I like the sound of that.
But yeah, I mean, the way that, and I'm just throwing this out there, the way that Jake Odorizzi has pitched against Aaron Nola this year, I don't know that you don't throw him out there and hope.
Yeah.
Because he's won both starts against him.
There's worse things that could happen.
He did it with a lot of run support. But, I mean, both times you go out there and you go, okay, well, we're just, conceding this one. And next thing you know, the Braves are out there, whipping Nola. So, anyway, to me, I just feel like this series it obviously favors the Braves.
It really does.
When you talk about everything that goes into it, the Braves were, I think, 12-7 or 10-7 against the Phillies this year. You've got favorable pitching matchups in three of the first 4 games.
I don't think Nola and Wheeler are the problem for the Braves that they might have been perceived to be at the beginning of this season. And I think that this Braves offense is disciplined enough that they're going to make you throw strikes, and they can really punish you when you do. So I think that's a heck of a combination against any pitching staff, but certainly against this one.
Rob Thompson has been extended.
As well he should.
2-year contract after taking over Joe Girardi in June.
Good for him.
So how about that?
Yeah.
That's absolutely he should. I mean, he took over a team that was reeling and then they won a playoff series.
Yeah, yeah.
That's insane.
It really is.
The Phillies are 40-41 away from home, and the Braves are 55-26 at home. Got to feel like win the first 2, and you'll pick up one of the next 2. Hopefully, All right. The rest of the series, the Mets lost to the Padres. Seattle, the 6th seed. Look at the 6 seeds. The two teams that would not have been in the playoffs
last year
in last season are now in the division series. How about those Mariners?
I saw this online in a couple of places over the weekend. The Mariners kind of strike you as the AL version of the Braves a little bit.
They do, in fact,
with their young core and the way they beat you. So
they don't know they're not supposed to be there. Like you said, you're the one who said it. I'm giving you all the credit.
Thank you.
Didn't mean to rhyme there, but you said it. Get credit.
What's crazy about this is I had a much better feel for the AL wild cards than I did for the NL because I picked both Cleveland and Seattle and did not pick either Philadelphia or San Diego. So,
well, what have you got now? Cleveland, Yankees.
Man, I don't want to pick the Yankees, but I just think that Judge and Stanton are a tough duo to work around there. I think I got to go with the Yankees there.
All right, I'm with you. I think the Yankees get the win. But boy, I would love to watch Cleveland do it. Cleveland survived against Tampa Bay. I know they swept. They won 2-0, but
but the second one was 15 innings.
It was 15 innings. They won the first one after giving up a solo home run in the top of the 6th. They come back and hit a 2-run shot in the bottom half, and that was it. 2-1. That was the final score. So they survived against the Rays, and I don't think you can survive against these Yankees. Or without Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah,
it appears to be without.
Yeah, it appears to be. Yeah.
Seattle and Houston.
Man, Houston again. This is a young and talented Seattle bunch, but Houston is tested. And how can you possibly root against Dusty?
You can't. And here's the thing: is you're right. I mean, look, when you're talking about the playoffs, experience matters, and Houston has it.
Yep.
They've got guys that you just. I mean, and look, I'm here for the Houston Yankees ALCS. So let's finally get it because we didn't get it last year.
Yeah.
After the Yankees were upset. So I want to see it.
That'll be fun.
On the National League side, to me, LA probably sweeps the Padres. I mean, maybe the Padres take one at home, but
I tell you what, if they can get Joe Musgrove back on the mound, they've got a shot. Now, I don't know how far they have to go to get to him again. But
he threw Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So you've got maybe Friday, which would be game 3. But I mean, if you were to still win in Los Angeles, then you could hold him out for Saturday. But I mean, if not, you got to throw him Friday.
Right.
You have to. But I don't see any way that the Padres can. I mean, after going 3 games in the wild card series, it just feels like this is a done deal that the Dodgers are going to move on.
They're going to move on. Well, I don't see any way that this is in Atlanta and LA again.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, the Braves they're also battle tested and
back to battle.
Yeah,
they are.
They still got the ATL though, so it's still back to battle. So yeah, hashtag for the A, Braves, Dodgers, NLCS, Yankees, Astros, ALCS.
Yep.
You can't ask for anything better than the 4 best teams in the major leagues to be in the championship series.
Absolutely.
So, all right, let's take another break, our final break of the day, and we will get to a couple of high school reaction right after this on Main Street Sports Show, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Well, welcome back in. Main Street Sports Day presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Reaction Monday, just a few minutes left, but I did want to get your thoughts, Mo. I know you're out of town, but some interesting games here. Some scores we'll just run through real quick. Brentwood 7-0 over Franklin. I thought that was interesting. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, been hearing a lot of good things about Franklin here over the
right
as this year has developed. Second year coach Alex Melton is really starting to see some improvement. Unfortunately not in the win and loss column, but starting to get things moving in the right direction. And and my source is Joe Williams of the Williamson Herald, but he really seems to feel like this Franklin program is going to be one to be reckoned with here over the next little bit, not necessarily this year, but going forward. Again, Alex kind of got things going in the right direction and feeling pretty encouraged about where they are right now.
You didn't pick them, but your Cougars with a big win, 28-24 over Ravenwood.
I did not pick them, and I'm very disappointed that I didn't, but that's a great win for that program. And it paid off on a statewide level. I think they moved up to number 7 in this week's Associated Press poll. So yeah, a lot of people noticed that win over Ravenwood. And that's big for them. Creates a 4-way tie at the top of Region 7-6A.
Okay, so I was just about to ask you, is this going to put them in a potentially hosting a playoff game scenario?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know who their final game is against in the region, but yeah, they've got a shot.
They still have Brentwood left.
There you go.
So I guess they'll be playing potentially Brentwood for a shot at the. My goodness, this is wild. Four-way tie at the top of the standings, and Independence still has Ravenwood left, and so I guess technically it's the winners of those two games host.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. You can't ask for better than that. Give yourself a chance to host a playoff game. You got the last regular season game of the year. And then Centennial's got to hope that Independence beats Ravenwood.
That's it.
In the event that otherwise you're going to Collierville, and that's not a fun trip.
Yeah. Hey, Yao, somebody's at my door, man. I got to cut this short.
Well, enjoy. We got to get out. We got to get out of here anyway. So that's it for Main Street Media, Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be back tomorrow, 2:00 here on Main Street Media TV. Don't forget to check us out. Download the Main Street Media TV app on your Apple product, Roku, Fire Stick, or your Apple telephone. Back tomorrow, same time, 2:00 here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. See you tomorrow.